Welcome to this week's discussion on what is God's plan for you. I would be willing to bet that none of you ever received an email, snail mail, text, or phone call from God saying, I want you to do this for me today. I know I never did. St. Francis of Assisi felt a call to build God's church. So he started right away to gather big stones and built a new physical church. If you ever visit Assisi, you can see the church that St. Francis built. It is about the size of a shed you might find in the backyard where you keep your lawnmower. After a lot more prayer, St. Francis realized that God meant to build, or perhaps rebuild God's church, spelled with a capital C. And so he began to do just that and became a great saint. Even the great saints may have one or more false starts. I do not believe that God judges us strictly by what we accomplished for Him. I do believe, though, we are judged by our willingness to listen and do our best to answer His call. Mother Teresa said, not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love. Mother Teresa was told that she could not feed all of the 1.5 billion people living in India, but she said, no, I can't, but I can care and love them one at a time. God may not be calling all of us to great things, but He did create each of us for some purpose. It is our job, first of all, to pray for God's guidance that we need so we can recognize and be guided to whatever our call is for each of us. You may have heard a story that goes something like this. There was a man who found himself in a dark parking lot looking for the keys of his car. A friend stopped by and asked if he could help him. He told him he was looking for his keys. The friend asked if he had any idea where to look. The one looking for the keys said, I am not sure, but I am looking over here where the light is better. Are you just trying to discover God's call for you where the light is better and not where God is for you? Are you just looking for something that is easier to do? Instead of looking where the light is better, perhaps we should just ask God what it is that He wants us to do. There is a saying that goes, God does not only ask the qualified to do great things, He qualifies those who He asks to do great things. Peter was a fisherman and became the first pope. Look at all the apparitions that have occurred over the years all over the world. Who were the ones chosen in Fatima, Guadalupe, or Lourdes, to name just a few? They were all innocent young children and not well-known or educated people that we might expect them to be. Were they qualified to be chosen, or did God qualify them for His purpose? Sometimes God wants us outside of our comfort zone, so we should be open to the fact that God's plan for us might not be the same plan as ours. It is easy for those of us who have a certain talent to assume that this talent that was given to us by God is what God is calling us to do now. It may or may not be our calling. Moses was called to go tell the Pharaoh to let God's people go. Moses did not find himself qualified to do what God was calling him to do because he had a speech impediment. God relented and used his brother Aaron. How do you feel about telling God that you do not want to do what He is asking of you today? The disciples were all from various backgrounds and talents aside from those that were fishermen, but God did not look only at the talents they already had. He gave them new talents and abilities. In Matthew chapter 10 verse 8, we hear how they were sent out: cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, drive out demons. Without cost you have received, without cost you are to give. They were not sent where there was better light, and their existing talents were secondary. The disciples were sent out to do something they had never done before, and they knew they would be criticized for what they were doing, even to death for some of them. Most likely you are not being asked to place your life on the line, but you are being asked to serve in some way. Pray for guidance. What is God calling you to do today? Have a blessed week. If you would like to receive these weekly discussions, please subscribe below. You can also feel free to share any comments.